I'm a sucker for nostalgia. So to me, anything 90s and early 2000s tabletop miniatures is the absolute pinnacle. A never-ending desire to feed my nostalgia-fueled dopamine hit by reminiscing of my first experiences in a hobby store. Walking aimlessly around the local shops, sifting through various blister packs of figurines, getting lost in the allure of worlds whose games I didn't even know how to play. Nevertheless, I often found myself in near philosophical debates with my mother on why she would need to spend her hard-earned money on a box of 28mm plastic dwarf toy soldiers. But among all of those visual flashbacks, perhaps one memory stands above the rest. On the top shelf, among the other, too expensive to convince my mom to buy when it's not my birthday boxes, I can distinctly remember seeing this. And in that moment, I found myself thinking, what in God's green earth is going on here? At the time, I didn't know the implications that this chaotic-looking box would create in my life, but saying that it has been profound would certainly be an understatement. Mordheim, a tabletop miniature skirmish game set in a post-apocalyptic fantasy city of the same name. After being struck by a divine twin-tailed comet, the city was thrown into a terrifying chaos. A beautiful symphony of dystopian fantasy horror where gangs of mercenaries and monsters brave the city in a violent conquest for the magical shards of the very same comet that brought the city's destruction. A game whose dark aesthetics and narrative gameplay create such an amazingly visceral tabletop experience that it's near perfect. And apparently, over 20 years later, I'm not the only person who thinks so. A few months ago, I received this handmade wax-sealed letter in the mail. An invitation to a narrative-driven tournament nearly 2,000 miles away. A weekend full of Mordheim games with 20 or so players from all over the world. I knew it would be an experience unlike any other gaming experience that I had had. I knew that attending was a must. But before heading down to the tournament, there was still work to do. In Mordheim, players take control of warbands of warriors to represent their gang of treasure hunters within the ruined city. In the core rulebook, there are 6 different warbands to choose from. Human mercenaries, demonic cult of the possessed, zealous witch hunters, the undead, Skaven ratmen, and the Sisters of Sigmar, a monastic order of warrior nuns attempting to cleanse the city of its evils. For the tournament, I've elected to play the Sisters. And while I have plenty of original Mordheim models in my collection, I wanted to build some figures that were exclusive to me. Using a hobby technique known as kit bashing, I've mixed and matched various parts of different models to build warriors that are unique. As a natural procrastinator, I found myself 4 days out from the tournament with painting still to do, and so I work. Recently, I made a social media post commemorating the 23rd anniversary of Mordheim's release, and what I said, I feel like is worth repeating. Thank you, Mordheim, for making the world a little brighter by making our tabletops a little darker.